Hi, this is Lady Lex UK, and this is a Dreams tutorial. I've had some requests to do some more sculpting tutorials, so I'm going to do some prop sculpting today. I put a request out on Twitter saying I was going to do a prop tutorial and what should I make, and the general consensus was make some furniture. So I'm going to use a furniture build as the basis of teaching some really basic sculpting skills in Dreams. So let's go in. Right then, first things first, you go straight into sculpt mode when you go to sculpture, which is what you'd expect. If you are wanting to go into sculpt mode, then you go into modes and then sculpt mode. And you'll notice the first thing you see is you've got a cube on the end of your imp. You have a choice of shapes and you can choose whichever shape you like so. And it's set to default at smear. Now, this is obviously an issue sometimes because you forget it's going to smear and you go to stamp it down like that, and then you end up noticing it looked like that. It's not a full square because you slightly moved when you stamped, and because if you really want to just stamp it down, then you need to be in stamp mode. So there's two modes for sculpting, smear and stamp. And on the DualShock you can swap by pressing L1 and triangle. And back again, and back, and back, and back. So you want it on stamp. I would prefer this to be my default. I would like them to set it so that you can choose which you default to. I'd like to choose to default to stamp. And so here we go. So stamp, you just R2 or X, does exactly the same, and it will just stamp a shape in your world like this. Now, you are currently in sculpt mode. Everything you put in this, as soon as you stamp something down, you're in sculpt mode, and now you can make whatever you want with your cube. You can rotate it with the right, hold down L2 and move your right stick, and that will rotate, and you can rotate at any angle, and you can make your sculpture like this. When you come out of sculpt mode, you have now an object that you can then, you're now in assembly mode, and you can move it around and you can clone it. And you can group it like this, make it a group, and now you can move it around and you can clone that. And this is how the Media Molecule, this is how they make scenery and landscapes and buildings and things like that. So very quickly you can build up a whole world with your sculpts. Let me just turn on the thermometer. You can see that's 3% graphics, which isn't very much, and I can just copy and put as many of those in as I like, and it's not moving up any at all. So this is a great way of making things. So let's go back into sculpt mode. Right, and make sure you go back to stamp, because it doesn't hold your settings if you close down the sculpt. It'll hold it if I change my shape, but it doesn't hold it if I come out of sculpt mode. Right then, things to notice then. We've done rotating. You can resize with the up and down D-pads. If you make a mistake, you can go left, and that will undo, left on the D-pad, and that will undo, and right on the D-pad will redo, like so. Let's just get rid of them all. Right, let's have a look at something else. While I'm in, let's move it back to smear mode. Now I'm in smear mode, and if I click on edit shape here, or I hold down L1 and square, you will get into the shape editor. Now in the shape editor you can change the shape by moving these arrows up and down so you can make a smaller cube. If you get down to its smallest, it will do this. It'll make a grid thing. Now you can use that, because what that will do now is allow you finer control to make your shape like so. And this is the way you would do really thin shapes like that. Okay, but that's what happens when it goes too small. All right, you've got other settings in here. Controlled scale, or you've got grip. Now the grip means you can change where you're holding it. So I can select that one there, leave the shape editor, and now you can see my imp is actually gripping this cube, which is now a rectangle, on its side and not in the middle. So that might be useful for you when you're sculpting, if you want to, maybe your imp's getting in the way and you want to change the way you're holding that shape. You can change the grip where you're holding it with that tool. Let's go back in. Right, other things that you can do. You can change the looseness of the shape, like that. You can put in varying looseness, and that gives you a slightly different effect. Let's zoom in so we can see. That will give you a slightly different effect. That's full, that's varied. So you can see you get different effects. You can put a hole in it. The hole comes out on one side. You don't have a choice about which side the hole comes in. So you maybe need to change your shape if you want a hole in it, like so. And you also have section, which is probably better if I exit this tool. Now, if you've changed your shape and you want to go back to the original, just swap it for another shape and then back again, and you'll have lost all of those things that you've done. So you can go back into it. Right, so I've got a cube. Let's go back in. If I choose section, what it does is it cuts it in half and then in half again, so you get quarters. So now you can just stamp a small part of it. Now with the cube, it's not as obvious about the use of it, but let's try the cylinder. So we'll go into there and we'll do section. Now we've got half a half. That's a very useful shape. And if we go back in and put a hole in that, there we go. We have now got a really nice regular curve. Very useful. And you can still adjust like that. There we go. Little arch, little section, and we do this, and we've just got a little brackety curve there. So these are really useful ways of adjusting and making new shapes. Right, let's get on with making some furniture, shall we? I'm going to change this to stamp, and I'm going to put grid snap on. I'm going to make it slightly finer, and we're going to go into, let's change our camera angle so it's straight on. We're just going to make this a little bit bigger and wider, I think a little bit more. Hang on, how many cubes we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's make it 10. There we go. Right. That's our new shape. I'm going to stamp that down. And now I'm going to reduce the size. And again, I think. Right, we're now going to cut out of there. Now, something to be aware of. What I did there is I pressed triangle. So press triangle, and that will toggle you between a full shape and a cut shape. But you need to be aware you are not cutting anything. You may think that what you've done there is cut out of that shape, and that is exactly what it looks like, but that isn't what you've done. If I was to grab my shape now and move it, you'll see that the cut remains where it is and your shape moves. Right? You haven't cut it at all. What this is doing is an invisible cloaking shape. It's just cloaking the part of that shape where they intersect. It isn't cutting anything. And this is what confuses a lot of people, because they cut it like this and then they go, oh, I want it over here. And then go, oh no, what's happened? So now they've got to grab this one and move it as well. They don't move together. The only way to get them to move together is to come out into assembly mode, and now you can move your shape around. And the same goes for painting. So if I was to scope in now, so L1X, scope in now, and go to my spray paint and grab a colour, and I'll spray half of it. There we go. I've sprayed, actually I spray all of it. Right, so I've sprayed the whole of my sofa, and now I move my sofa. It's going to move away from the paint. You see, you haven't painted the shape at all. You've laid some paint down, but it is independent. It is not attached to the shape. However, if I come out into assembly mode, it is attached to the shape and I can move it around. This is where people get very, very confused when they're making their objects, and they move the sculpt and the paint stays put and they go, what happened? It's because you are not painting the object. You are laying down some paint in that area, and it's only when you're in assembly mode that you can actually move it around. So bear that in mind when you're sculpting. Do the painting last, do the cutting when you've got the thing in position. Be very careful about that. Now, you can adjust, by going to the sculpt mode, you can adjust with the stretch. So we'll select that object. So if I want to make that smaller on the back, there we go. We can do that using the stretch tool. So you can alter it afterwards. Oh, we've got a little bit of a gap down there. Not to worry. Let's go back into paint mode and get rid of that. That's going to annoy me. So we've got a very orangey sofa. Woo! And now I've lost it. Let's go back. Oh no, what's happened? Okay, we're back to our sofa. Woo! Right, this is caused by me being hardwired to my PC. I've got a hard wire, and it sometimes does weird stuff like this. I've got to be very careful. Right, let's try that again. So, what was it? Was it that orange? I think it was. Spray paint, scope in. There we go. Let's get rid of that hole. Right, so now we have the base of our sofa. Let's put some cushions on it. So I'll go into sculpt mode. I'm going to use the rounded cube. And I think that's about right. But we need a little bit bigger than the actual chair. That looks good to me. So stamp that. We can worry about colour in a minute. There we go, and we'll clone it and stick that in there like that. There we go. Now we've got two seats. And we're going to take this one and we're going to flip it. There we go. So we now got the back of our sofa and some seats. I could do with some arms. I don't like those hard arms. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll reduce the size of those. And we'll make it longer that way. Yay! Whoa, I'm fighting with my imp. Right, okay. There we go. Up. Up, 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 up. Yeah, that's good. We might need to, because we got the grid on. I've got less options, but we can alter it in a minute. There we go. So I've made some arms. And we'll come out of grid mode so I can do some fine adjustments by eye. Yeah. There we go. That's about right, I think, for our sofa. Right. Okay, so it's a funny pinky shape with a brown base. Let's make it nice uniform. So we're going to paint it. Let's make it a nice leather sofa, shall we? So I'm going to choose a nice brown. Let's go for that one. It's like a nice big. There we go. Right, we've painted all of that. Did I get it all? Make sure you go all the way round. Make sure you've got it all. Woo, I've lost it. It's gone. Damn. There it is. Oh my goodness. It is really difficult with this wired up to my PC. It does weird stuff. I'm constantly having to center him. Right, okay, so there we go. We got a wood base and a leather seat. It doesn't look particularly, it looks sort of leathery, but not as leathery as I'd like. So we'll go into this and we're going to change the shininess on the roughness of this. There you go. That looks more leathery to me. Yes. So you can alter that. So that was L1 and square to get into the sculptor properties. I just adjusted the shininess and the waxiness and ended up now with a nice, I think that's quite nice actually. Now you can also change the color. Now you can change the tint color, so you can put the tint amount up like this, and I can change the color of that base. So it matches a bit better with the sofa. There we go. I think that's quite good. There is our leather sofa. That looks nice. Right, let's make some cushions for it, shall we? Okay, go into sculpt mode. Make sure you've got start new sculpture. I don't think it's a problem because we just restarted it, but just in case, always check. Go into stamp mode. I'm going to squish this down because I'm going to have a flat cushion. I think that's about the right thickness for a cushion. That's about right. Right, I'm going to stamp that. Now I'm going to go into my shapes and pick a sphere. And I'm going to go into blend mode. And now you notice we have some different to when we had it in smear. We've now got some different options here. Now blend will allow you to blend with an object. So I'm going to put the blend up like this, and I'm going to change it so that it, and leave the shape editor. Now I can deform my shape with this sphere to make it look more like a cushion. There we go. That's quite good. I'm happy with that. Look at it from all angles. Right, I think we'll make this into a nice white fluffy cushion. So we'll paint it first. Get nice and big so I'm getting all of it. There we go. Check it from all angles. Yeah, that looks fine. That's painted. That's good. Right, let's go in and let's change it to rough wax, and we're going to pick some hairs. So that's now hairy, and then we're going to come out of here and we're going to go into the fleck properties, and I'm just going to change the looseness a bit, and already it's looking a little bit more fluffy, and I'm going to change the ruffle and the impasto. Now see what's happening. I now have a fluffy cushion. You can change the looseness, make it even more fluffy. I think that's about right. I quite like that. And you can play about with waxiness and things to get it how you want it. You don't want it shiny, so let's put it over to the right. I think that'll do actually. That's a nice fluffy pillow. If you wanted to, you could experiment. Let's just scope in. You could experiment with these. So these will create different effects. So that's like a curly wool. So you can experiment with these. These are all different. That's like cotton wool. That's really fluffy. I still like the hairy cushion. So there's our hairy cushion. We'll put 2 on, shall we? Let's just reduce the size of it a bit. There we go. There we are. We have now some nice fabric and some leather on a sofa. And if we look at the thermo, 3% graphics, which isn't too bad. But if you are concerned and you wanted to reduce it, go into Tools, click on Sculpture Detail, and we can, with our right trigger, you can just reduce that down a bit. So now it's 2% graphics. Right, so let's come out of this mode. Let's have a look at it. Slightly less crisp, but still good. That's okay. Let's reduce that right down. So now we have a sofa with 2 cushions on it. Hope that was useful for you. That was our basic sculpture tutorial. I covered most things, I think. Let me just check if there's anything. There are other things like mirror and kaleidoscope, but let's not make this tutorial too long. I will do that in maybe in another tutorial. Also, there is the curve tool. Actually, I think I'll cover that now. So go to stamp. So you can stretch it up like this, and then you've got these arrows which allow you to deform the curve in 2 different angles. And also you can pull and push, and that changes the thickness of the end. Unfortunately, you don't really have an option to have it like thick in the middle and have two thin ends or anything like that. It's one or the other. So one of the ends is going to be thick and one of the ends is thin, or they're both the same thickness, like that. So you want to make worm type shapes. This is the way to do it. But you can get some really interesting curvy shapes, like so. There we go. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll show you the kaleidoscope tool. So now we'll exit the tool. Now we've got a thing we can create some really weird and wacky looking things. There we go, look at that. It's amazing what you can do with the sculpts. I recommend playing about with it. The way to learn sculpting in Dreams is literally just push the buttons, try things out. Don't be frightened to experiment a bit. Everything needs to be learned. I'm giving you these tutorials, but I'm learning the same as you, and I'm learning techniques all the time. So just experiment, play about, make lots and lots of things. You don't need to launch them to the Dreamweaverse if you don't want to, and don't be afraid to delete them either. Don't just so I'm going to delete this now. So I'm going to come out. If I hadn't saved it, I would just exit, and it says save it, and I'm just not going to save it. There you are. I made that sofa. It was all great, but I'm not going to save it. If you've got anything in your Dreamweaverse that you haven't launched to live, you can still delete that. Don't be frightened to delete stuff. You don't have to put everything you make up into the Dreamweaverse, because you will regret it later if you put up something that's not all that great, and people start putting it in their levels, and you feel embarrassed about it. Oops. Right then, there we go. Sculpture tutorial. Hope that was useful, and I'll catch you in your dreams.